Let's see. Did you point me in?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention at all. Okay, here we go. Cheers, everybody. Welcome to Sips and Scripts, the podcast that brings together the best of both worlds, cocktails and movies. We'll dive into an all-time favorite movie and explore the latest releases and pair it with a delicious cocktail while we share our thoughts, opinions, and some fascinating behind-the-scenes trivia. My name's Terrell Bernard, and be watching the movie sometimes.
He do be watching the movie sometimes. And I am Kirsten Jackson, a cocktail influencer, a blogger at lowcountrysocialite.com. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Yes, today we are talking about the 1989 classic Harlem Nights. But before we get into that, Terrell, how you doing?
I am doing excelente.
How is your year going? That is like the year that's almost about to end.
I'm ready for it to end.
Well, I say that because this is our second to last show for the season.
Say what?
Second to last. What? Say that.
That's what's up.
Yep.
Okay.
We've got one more episode before we close for the season 3. And so this is our second to last episode. Does that make you want to cry? Or are you looking forward to the break?
Tears of joy.
Oh, tears of joy, you dum-dum.
No, I'm gonna miss it.
Oh, but
fresh, new year,
yeah,
new things popping.
Yep, but we've got a break. So, today's episode will be Harlem Nights, and but we've got big news for our last episode.
Big news.
What's news. So it will be in December. So obviously we're going to do a Christmas movie, and we're going to do this Christmas, and we have a special guest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll announce that a little later. So big things coming for us. But yeah, we'll have some surprises in December. But yeah, so we're after December. I think the episode is December 5th.
Okay.
And whatever the first Sunday in December is. So we won't see you guys over Thanksgiving break. So for now, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we will see you again in December for this Christmas with our special guest. And then after that, we'll be taking a break into the new year. And we'll be coming back in February, just ripe for Black History Month.
And it will be historical.
That's right. And Terrell's definitely historical because he's 60 years old. So y'all didn't know that. Little known fact. But anyway, it will be starting fresh in February for season 4. Can you believe it? We're about to be in season 4.
I know, right? Seems like yesterday.
But yeah, so let's get into our movie for today. And I guess the best place to start is to share our history with the film. So, Terrell, why don't you tell me your history with this film?
To be honest with you, I know people like, oh, it's a classic. Oh, Eddie Murphy at his best. It had all the classic comedians, and I never fully watched the whole thing ever in my life. I've seen bits and pieces of it, and I enjoyed what I watched. I just never got to see the whole movie. This was my first time watching the entire movie from beginning to end. Really? Yes.
I'm shocked.
I am as well, because I love Eddie Murphy. I love Richard Pryor. I love Red Fox. I don't know why I didn't watch it.
I mean, just when you think you know somebody.
I know, right?
Yes, we have a comment from YouTube says it's a classic. due to everyone in it. Yes,
Yeah,
it is
very true.
absolutely a classic. And it's one of those like those old school film experiences that you only got like in the late 80s and 90s with the ensemble cast, like movies like Best Man, you know, stuff like that, like where you know everybody and it's gonna be a good time just because everybody's in it.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I don't know. I'm surprised at you, but I'm glad that we corrected that with this viewing for today's episode. Because I would just be ashamed of you if you didn't correct that.
Really? I'm pretty sure I will be equally ashamed of you in the future.
Wait a minute now. Now that kind of hurt my damn feelings a little bit.
Good.
Fair enough. Anyway, well, my history with the film is I just like you, I really don't remember. I know I've seen it at least twice before. But I don't remember the first time seeing it because in 89 I would have been 8. So I'm sure I didn't see it then because this movie is pretty racy. Actually, you know, it's not even that racy, but it's like a lot of cussing and a lot of dialogue that's like, you know, with a lot of cussing and stuff. But that's pretty much it. Like there weren't a lot of sex scenes and all that stuff, but yeah, so I know that I saw it at least twice before, but I hadn't seen it in a long time until I, you know, just like prepared to view it for this episode. But one thing that I do remember is that I remember looking at the film and just looking at how beautiful it was, because I just love period pieces anyway, especially Black ones. So I remember the fashion, I remember the old school cars, I remember like the music, but like if you would have asked me the plot, I would have been like, there's a club and Richard Pryor's in it, and then
Richard Pryor owns a club, and then Eddie Murphy is his surrogate son.
Yeah. Listen, you better hold that information because I'm coming at you with the recap. So yeah. But yes, it has been a long time. But I have a dope beat for you to step to in just a few minutes.
Let's go.
But anyway, I remember just enjoying how it looked, and it was just a fun time to watch. And I think that, and I probably will get into this a little later, but I feel like it's one of those films where the plot is okay, but it's more like a show of Black wealth and opulence. It's just like a really beautiful display of that. And I think that's probably why the look of the film stuck out more to me than the actual plot of the film.
Right.
So, but we'll talk about all of that. So yeah, that is my history, and I did enjoy getting a rewatch because now I actually know what happened in the film.
Now I believe you haven't seen the whole film. I don't think you have.
I've seen it.
Trying to shame me. I don't think you've seen all of Harlem Nights before.
Look, man. Sometimes I sit back and think like it's a lot of stuff I used to watch back in the day. And because I know I used to watch like certain TV shows, but for some TV shows, if you would have asked me like, what was one episode about? I'd be like,
true. That stuff will get erased from your memory quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah. So, but this was just one movie that I did not remember the plot, but I remember the scenes. I remember how it looked. I remember the jokes. The plot just lost me. But anyway, speaking of plot, here's your chance. For those of you who are new to our podcast, the host gets to challenge the other host with a 60-second recap. So since it's my episode, I get to challenge Terrell. So I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. And that's going to give you ample time to mutilate this plot like you normally tend to do.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything that makes any sense.
You could at least try, buddy.
That's not the plan. Straight off the dome.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I'm not looking forward to this. And I'm also looking forward to this. So, yes. All right. Well, I'm putting 60 seconds on the clock. So, you let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. Ready, Freddy.
All right. Well, I'm going to count you in. 3, 2, 1.
All right, Harlem Nights is a movie about Sugar Ray and Quick. They own a club in Harlem, and it's kind of like a shady underground kind of club, but it seems like everybody goes there, and it's very popular. They are having some trouble with some another club in the same city, and I believe it's because they are Black that they want them gone. So they devise a plan to get out of the club business and go away with a bunch of money. It's kind of like a somewhat heist, but not really. And it involves a prize fight and women, car chases, guns, drugs.
Really? A list?
And straight Harlem. Harlem to this day, as far as I'm concerned. And then they all live happily ever after. The end.
Okay. just stop. That was
pretty accurate.
That was something. Yes, it was. Thank you for that.
Of course, anytime. I got 60 seconds.
Anytime you got an extra 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Well, yeah. So yeah, so you basically gave us a list of all of the things that were guns and high speed chases. Did you say high speed chases?
Yeah, it was something like a high speed chase.
I'm about to say, because them cars back then were not high speed anything.
Yeah, especially riding around that back lot at Paramount. Can't go but so fast.
You know what? Don't hate on Paramount and Eddie Murphy Productions.
I love Eddie Murphy Productions. I wish I need more Eddie Murphy Productions.
Well, I'll give you that. That I'll give you. All right. Well, you know what? I think it's time for a cocktail. You've warmed everybody up. So
yeah, let's go. What we sipping on?
Let's do it. All right. So for today's film, we are going to do a Dominique Daiquiri.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. Where'd you come up with the name?
Oh, well, I'm so smart and brilliant. But no, our leading lady, that was really only in the film for what 5 minutes. But
Jasmine Guy?
Yes, Jasmine Guy. Well, she's a very impactful performance, and enjoyable. But yeah, so the cocktail is named for her. It is a sleek and sophisticated cocktail inspired by Dominique La Rue. It's our film's sultry femme fatale. So just like Dominique, the drink is smooth and striking. Kind of packs a punch when you least expect it. So we're gonna make it.
Let's go.
All right. So we're gonna start with our shaker full of ice. It's basically just a classic daiquiri cocktail, but you got to name it for our girl, Dominique La Rue. And we are going to start with 2 ounces of rum. So we have our jigger with our measuring on it, and we are going to pour us 2 ounces of white rum. And the rum that we are using today is one I can't ever pronounce. Room JM. My little green screen thing is screwing up. Boop, boop. So, which I'm almost out. I think I need another bottle. Terrell, add that to your shopping list.
All right. I'll let Alexa know.
Yeah, you do that. All right. So we're going to use 1 ounce of fresh lime juice, but mine isn't so fresh because I'm using the bottle. But that's okay. When you're a home bartender, you can use what you have. And so we are going to pour 1 ounce of lime juice. And we are going to pour that in our shaker. And we are going to lastly pour. Now, this calls for 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. Now, I like my drinks a little on the sweeter side. So I'm going to do a generous pour of simple syrup. And I did not make my simple syrup this time, even though simple syrup is extremely easy to make, extremely. I'm just using the roses in the bottle. So I'm going to do a full ounce because I like my drink sweet, like I said. So we're going to do that and pour it in our shaker. And then we are going to put our top on our shaker and close up all my other stuff before I knock it off of the table because I'm clumsy like that. And we are going to give it a shake. So let this get nice and chill. Then we're going to dilute with our ice. And because this is a what film year can we set in?
Yeah. Look, wait. I think it was early 30s.
Okay. So
because he quick called out a year. I think he's like, I ain't been beat up since 1911.
I think it was like okay. I thought he said 21, but it might have been 11. Something, I don't know, but I remember that. So we're just gonna use a coupe glass because one, I love coupe glasses, and this is like typical cocktail glass in that time period. So we are going to shake and then strain into our coupe glass. And it makes us a nice little cocktail. And my ready steady on deck, my dehydrated lime slice on top. So here we have our Dominique Daiquiri. And it's very good. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers. That's what's up.
So now that we have our cocktail, we can get into this movie.
All right.
Yes. All right. So our film, Harlem Nights, released in November of 1989. Like I said, I was about 8 years old. It is a crime comedy drama.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a mouthful, right? Crime comedy drama. And it tells the story of Sugar Ray, who is played by Richard Pryor, and Vernest Quick Brown, played by Eddie Murphy. And I feel like this was the beginning of Eddie Murphy creating films where he has this multi-hat role, like, because he was the writer, the director, starred in it, all of that.
He was Tyler Perry before Tyler Perry.
He was Tyler Perry. He Tyler Perry it. Yes, but much better than Tyler Perry would have. But anyway, so yes, but they are a team that runs a nightclub in the late 1930s, like right smack dab in Prohibition. And they are in Harlem. And it is like a Black Harlem Renaissance kind of time. Mm-hmm. And so, just like Terrell mentioned in his wonderful 60-second recap, they have to contend with gangsters and police officials, and and it's a good time. It is a good time. And so, like I said, it was starred, was written, directed by Eddie Murphy. And this film, like, I talked about it being an ensemble cast, but like, sitting there while I was watching it, like, man, so many of these stars have passed. It was like so good to see them again.
Yes.
It was like family reunion from the great beyond. It was great. But yeah, it was a very good time. Like, I was sitting there thinking about all of the people in it who had passed, like Charlie Murphy and Robin Harris and
Thomas Ford.
Yes, yes. Tommy from Martin, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Lerner, who played what was the gangster that was with Dominique La Rue? Was he Bugsy?
Bugsy, yeah. Bugsy Calhoun.
Yeah. He has passed. Red Fox,
Mm-hmm.
like Della Reese.
Mm-hmm.
So many people who like were in this film and that are no longer with us. And it was just really good to see them on screen again. And then there was like also a lot of scenes that I remember,
Yeah.
but I didn't remember that they came from this film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and one in particular was when they were shooting craps in the beginning, he was like, "Come on, Six, with your funky ass. I've been waiting on you all night." I heard that. Yeah, so we have a comment on Instagram. Yes, especially Della Reese.
Touched by an angel.
I love Della Reese. She was hilarious in this film to me. And
Yes, she was.
I thought it was so sweet how she was so tough, but she was like really endearing, and even like getting her pinky toe shot off. She still loved quick, and that was so sweet. But yeah, a lot of like legendary scenes in this film that like were probably bigger than the film itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pinky toe scene, everybody knows about shooting your pinky toe off. Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people know about that who don't even like, I don't know, probably like, yeah, like kids.
Like that. Yeah.
Yes, and then the Arsenio scene with all of the shooting, and Arsenio did not phone in that performance at all. Like he really,
he was out. The tear that was streaming from his eyes was hilarious. He was crying and shooting. He was trying to avenge his brother.
Yes, and him accidentally shooting. He was I accidentally shot my friend. I was like, oh my god. He really gave it his all. Like, kudos to Arsenio. He really dialed it up. Like,
I would
10
love
notches.
to see Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall do more movies together. I think they have that chemistry.
They really do. Because yeah, they were together again and coming to America, which came out after this, right?
It's right around the same time. I know both of them came out. I think Coming to America was 88.
Okay. Because I was reading like that Eddie Murphy said he'd always wanted to do like a period piece, and so this was his, I guess, his homage to that time period. But what did you? I have a question for you, and I'm going to answer it and then throw it to you. What did you think about the script of this film? Because, and I asked that because, so in watching this film, like I just kind of gathered that the script might have been an afterthought, which is fine, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think that this film was intended to be more of an experience than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were some lines that I feel like it to me, and I wasn't there, but it felt like Eddie Murphy probably wrote the script and wrote everybody else's lines but his, and then his line is just like off the dome, just ad lib.
Everybody probably seemed like they would have went, especially Richard Pryor and Red Fox, because I think that's just what they do. I think a lot of comedians, they love to improvise when they're in films, and they just do as many takes as they can and just pick the funniest one.
Thank you. Like that is exactly what I was thinking, and I feel like probably with like the ones that are more serious actors, he probably wrote their script for them. Mm-hmm. But like the comedians, and I'll probably have to do some more research. I can't really speak for like the filming process, but it feels like he let these great people come in and just do whatever. And most of the time that shit can go off the rails and go down bad. But this cast has so much chemistry. And one of the beautiful things about it is that they had chemistry and you really didn't even know the different relationships between them. Like, and I what I mean by that is, so we know that Sugar Ray, I guess, kind of like adopted Quick. But that's all we know. And to this day, I don't know if Red Fox's character and Della Reese were married or were they friends, like, because they were arguing like they were married. But it was never really clear. Like, the only ones we knew were married was Sugar Ray and then his wife. And then everybody else was just like there. Like, and usually when you don't define characters in a role, like, the movie is kind of a little confusing. But the way that this movie was written, I just feel like it was just beautiful to just let them just come, deliver their performance, just do whatever. I feel like, and not in a chaotic way, but just to let these people shine and flourish. And I don't know.
They did it. The individual performances, I enjoyed everyone I saw on screen. Yeah. Now, is it a cohesive, great storytelling, great plot, great? No. It's a story they told, and it was like kind of like what Adam Sandler does with his friends. Like, Adam Sandler is like, oh, I want to do a movie with my friends, and I want to shoot the movie in Jamaica. Then all of a sudden, it's him and his friends in Jamaica just doing whatever, and then the movie's over.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're not wrong. Absolutely. Like, I feel like he was just like, hey, here's a script, but I really just want you to just do whatever you feel. Because you can tell that a lot of the lines, because especially like Eddie Murphy's lines, some of the lines he started doing that mumbling thing that he does, where he's like saying funny stuff, but it's like just rolling out his mouth, like, because when he was talking about when he put the cop in the bank vault, he was like, yeah, you just take short breaths, It's like, man, you might not want to do, like, he was just going on like that, and I feel like that's not some shit you can write down. That's
something it's on the spot. It comes out naturally. Like, if you was really in that situation, like, you would really tell somebody, hey, you ain't got much air in here. Don't waste it.
Yeah. Don't be taking no deep sighs, okay? Because that ain't gonna work out for you. But no, I just, like, I thought that was really, really cool. And I think that, and I know that on this podcast, I am one that usually rips movies apart. And I feel like I'm heavy on the praise with this one, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
So one thing I did not explain in this, our opening up, is that this film got a 28 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I believe it.
It also got a Raspberry Award, like the worst film. For the 10th annual Raspberry Awards, it got worst film. And so, do I think that this film is just like incredible and great acting, great writing, great script, great plot? No. Okay, I'll be realistic. No, but I also don't think that that's what it was created to be.
Exactly.
But I do feel that this film got a bad rap. I also think that in 1989, like, there was this big thing about how our films, like Black films, were critiqued very heavily by professional critics.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Because usually professional critics, Siskel Ebert, are white. They do not understand our experiences. They do not understand the things that we laugh at and the things that are important to us. They can try their best, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
But I think films like this were given a bad rap. They were heavily critiqued because, interestingly enough, on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is 28%, but the audience score is 80%.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So it is a film that has become a cult classic, and it is enjoyed by, like, lots of different audiences, and it is heavily enjoyed. So, and I also think like there are definitely circumstances that affected how this film was received. Because one thing that I didn't know, because like I said, I was a child when this came out, but there were like some shootings in like certain movie theaters where it was shown.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There was like a couple of shootings. I can't remember where. I'll have to like, I don't know, I'll post the article that I was reading, but there were some shootings in like a couple of theaters. And so people like the theaters were blaming the movie, saying that it was promoting violence. And so they stopped the showings, and then some of them like canceled showings altogether.
Wow.
So that affected like how well the movie did. However, the movie actually made money because it wasn't a bust. Like the budget was, I think, 30 million, and it recouped 60 million. Yep. So it was a hit, but I think it could have been much bigger, even I think so. More.
Especially with Eddie Murphy behind it, because 80s, Eddie Murphy owned the 80s and the 90s. So it was like if Eddie Murphy was in it, it was you might as well start printing money because it was gonna make a ton of it.
Absolutely. Like Eddie Murphy was the king of the late 80s and early 90s. He really was. So, but yeah, so there were like certain circumstances that really affected how this film was received. And so, but yeah, as I was reading this stuff, I was like, wow, I didn't even realize all of this stuff was going on. Like, I think like at one point there was even a riot. Like they stopped the film and then there was like an hour-long riot because people were so angry because they stopped like right in the middle of the showing because there was like some kind of violent episode that happened.
Oh, wow.
So, but yeah, so but yeah, so like I said, it did have a low score, but I think that, you know, due to how things were critiqued back then. But do you think that things are a little better now with how Black films are received and critiqued and all of that stuff?
It depends. Not really. I don't think much has changed because there's certain movies that I was like, this was a really good movie. And then you go look at the Rotten Tomato scores, which I don't care about. But it's like people look at that and they're like, oh, this movie was terrible. Yeah. But when you look at the audience score, the audience was like, nah, this movie was great. Like I saw that with I think almost every Tyler Perry movie. And I know he doesn't make the greatest movies of all time, but he has some movies under his belt where I was like, this was a really good film. Family That Prays, loved it. Diary of a Mad Black Woman, loved it. And it was like they still get those low critic scores, but like audiences, people who actually go watch the film, pay money to see the film, rent the film, purchase the film, they love it. So it's like it's still that disconnect even today with Black films and the critics.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that there has been some growth as far as like with critics, but not nearly enough as there needs to be.
No, I can only think of one movie that it was like the critics was like, yeah, we love it, and it was like Black Panther.
Yeah. But I think that you know, of course we could always use more Black filmmakers, more film directors, more Black, you know, just people behind the camera. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
No, that was going to lead into my question I have for you.
Yeah.
About Black Hollywood. It was so prevalent in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, but as of late, like it seems like it's disappeared and dried up. And I was just thinking, like, what happened? Why is that the case? Like, why aren't there like these ensemble Black-led cast films where it's like the director is Black, it's written by Blacks, starring Blacks, telling Black stories? It's like you either have some of the elements piece by piece. It might not be a Black director, but it'll be Black actors. It might not be written by Blacks, but it has Black directors. It's like it can't be something that they put together and it's like this is a Black production put together by Blacks and it's telling a story that Black people would be able to follow and understand. And I was just thinking, like, where are all the actors that would come together and do films like that? Because it seemed like in the past, probably 15 years or so, I haven't really seen too much of that. You might have a few films here and there that will do that, but for the most part, like how heavy it was in the late 80s and 90s and 2000s, you don't see that anymore. And I just wanted to know what you thought about that.
Gosh, that's a really loaded question. And I think that for several reasons, and just a few that I can think of, I think that when it comes to Black people, and then especially just Black jobs, which Black filmmaking and those different processes will be Black jobs. I think that circumstances hit us a little harder than they do like other people that ain't Black. So I am sure that I'm aware that COVID affected the film industry pretty harshly. So, you know, there's that. I also think that like there are, so okay, so just like you said, we did have this kind of shift where it was like a lot of Black movies going on, but a lot of those movies were steeped in Black trauma. Like we had 12 Years a Slave and what's another? I would say like we had a lot of like films like that. And then Black people kind of got tired of it. But those films were doing really well. They were winning Oscars. And I think that's like when white filmmakers really tried to jump on board to telling our stories. And I think Black people got tired of that too. And what I have noticed as far as like trends that I've just picked up on personally in like filmmaking industry is like there was this shift from like making all these Black trauma films to making these like there it seemed to be like this kind of people were trying to pivot into making like, you know, just normal Black experience films. And so I'm not really sure what has like happened to like films where they're like everything is Black, like behind the camera and in front of the camera. But I know that those films are hard to come by.
Yeah, they are. It's a few people out here that I believe are doing it. Albert, the director, he does a lot of Black films. Tyler Perry, of course, he's like, that's his thing. And then you have Kevin on Stage, his studio, Churchy, he produced that, wrote that, starred in that. But it's so far and few between. Like if you can name them all on one hand, is it really that prevalent or really that in your face where you can be like, okay, I can pick up this and I know I can get this from here, or I know I can go here and I'll be able to see people that look like me behind the scenes, the people that were writing, they wrote from someone that sounded like me. And it's like it seems to be drying up so quickly. And I want to say COVID, but then it seemed like it was happening before COVID. Yeah. Like you got Issa Rae out there, she's doing her thing, of course, and other, but it's like it's not. Yeah,
I was gonna say the writer's strike. That was the other thing I was trying to think of. COVID and the writer's strike. Like I think like a lot of that stuff affected Black filmmaking probably more heavily than just the average filmmaking. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't want to forget my thought because I will forget.
Yeah, old people forget.
You're not wrong, and you're not wrong.
Yeah, because I already forgot.
Oh, my bad. But yeah, but that's a good question. You kind of stumped me a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one. But you're right. Like, even though, listen, I'm known on this podcast for destroying Tyler Perry, because I mean, look, he is not my favorite filmmaker. However, I do feel that there are some necessary parts of his existence. So and
Yeah.
he has, for his fault and, all intents and purposes, he has created a very, very large space for Black actors and Black directors and just like Black people to work on his films. Now he need to get some Black writers, but okay.
He said he is the Black writer.
Yeah, he only got one employed at this time. And he really need a panel, but okay, yeah, Tyler, I'm gonna let you cook. All right.
He cooking all right.
I'm gonna let you cook, Tyler, for now. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It does seem like that has dried up. Because like when I was talking about, those trauma pieces, like, do you remember the sitcom? It's not sitcom, but the show Them by that Lena Waithe?
Lena Waithe? I didn't. I wasn't. I was already checked out by then. I didn't care to even watch it. I was like, no, I'm good.
So I did watch it. And it is now, like, earlier this year, it just had a season 2. Which I don't think did as well as season 1. And season 1, I don't think did that well either. But I don't know. I need to look at the reception of that. But that show is like, it is Black trauma to the 10th power cubed.
Oh wow.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I saw the preview and I was like, I might be interested. But then I was like, when it came out, I was like, I'm no longer interested. I'm over it.
And listen, you know what? One thing that I really feel about that, it could be because she got a lot of backlash for creating that show. Yeah. Because of how much trauma was in that. And I strongly believe, and I stand firm on my belief that if she would have created that show maybe 3 years earlier, it would have been well received, because that would have been during a time where, it was angry America, like, and even though we are still kind of in that, because I mean, race relations isn't that much better, right. But it was, I feel like she created that show right on the back end of all those trauma movies, like 12 Years a Slave and Underground and all those like slavery movies that were really getting people fired up. And I just think she just created it a little too late because people were getting tired of it. And I think that show could have done a lot better. And that's just my thought. You have thoughts on that? I know you didn't watch it, but I have always felt that.
Yeah, I think there's a time, and then once your time is over, then it's on to the next thing. And some people, they just get caught at the wrong place, wrong time. It was just a little too late, little after the fire burned out. And then here you come.
Yeah.
Like, look at me, guys. And everybody's like, nah, we all right. we looking at something else now.
Yeah, because I mean, like that, because the show is actually, it's for what it is well done. And the story in it kind of runs like American Horror Story, like, to where if you've ever watched any seasons of American Horror Story, the one thing that is like present in every season is that you usually don't know what the hell is going on until about the 7th or 8th episode. And that is done on purpose by Ryan Murphy. Like, all of those episodes kind of come together once you start getting to the end of the show or end of the season. And that is actually kind of how that show is too, where it's like bits and pieces of trauma and like horror. And then around the end, you're like, okay, this makes sense. So I think it was well done. But I don't know. But this ain't the episode about them. But anyway, I say that to say, you know, Black filmmaking has definitely changed. But yeah, but back to Harlem Nights. Were there any scenes that you wanted to
I mean, it was just a collection of scenes. I mean, there was some funny stuff. It was definitely a comedy. Like I said, Arsenio, that part, that's a part I always think of when I think of Harlem Nights.
Yeah.
And like it comes on TikTok and on Instagram, people cutting that out and you know, making a video about it and stuff like that. So it's certain scenes come back around either on social media or Facebook or whatever, and it's always funny. It's just always funny. Like even that scene with Della Reese and Eddie Murphy, the Pastor Cavassier video, they parodied that in that video. So it's like it's stuff that just going to be around. It's timeless after a while. You're like, okay.
Because that was, and you already answered it, because that was actually going to be my next question for you. Like, of all of these like scenes, because to me it was more of a collection of amazing scenes more so than a movie.
Yeah.
But what was your favorite scene? Like, what stood out to you the most? What do you remember the most?
It would have to be our stop shooting that little shit. I was when because they got these Tommy guns and they trying, we gonna kill you quick, we gonna kill you. And here he comes.
No, it was like a he killed all three of them. It's like, oh, okay. Well.
That's just, oh man, just somebody like everybody like where did you even get that from? Like everybody has like you was like you forgot your gun, you forgot your Tommy gun in the back or something. Like he got out the car and picked the smallest gun.
Yeah, that was an incredible scene. I think for my answer to this question, to me the scene that stood out the most was the sunshine scene with Layla Rashawn. Like when I think of Harlem Nights, that is the first thing I think about.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, yeah, her, because he was so in love with her, and she was gorgeous. Like Layla Rashawn was that girl in the 90s. Like she was gorgeous, and him calling his wife like, "Look, hey, I ain't never coming home. Have a nice life, bro."
Yeah, kids put your mom on the phone is crazy. You ain't gonna say bye to your kids. You just go tell your wife, I'm never coming home. Like
that was nasty work, boy.
Like, I think I did the right thing. He was like,
it's so funny because like all these years, I always felt sorry for him because I was like, he don't even know that he's being played. But now, like as an adult, I'm like, he was gonna leave his wife and kids, like, and didn't even go and pack nothing, or he was gonna go with no clothes,
nothing. Was gone. Nose was wide open.
He wasn't even gonna tell them babies bye. He was just, I ain't never coming home. But I think of that all of the time, and it's so funny. Like they call her Sunshine, and then her in the yellow dress. Like it was just perfect. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
And I like, and then when I watched it, you know, to prepare for this episode, I was like, she looked so obnoxious, like sitting in that club, like, and then the way she walked up, I was like, going on here? Like the way she like walked up to him, like what's happening? But Layla, she delivered that role too, and I think she did an amazing job. I think like everybody did.
Yeah, everybody.
Did you see Robin Harris in this film? All this time I did not know, or I did not remember that Robin Harris was in this film.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, he's in it, and the other comedian, is it Root, light skinned comedian? He used to be on Comic View. I cannot think of his name. His name is escaping me, but he was a light skinned comedian. He'd be on Comic View. I think during like the earlier seasons of Comic View, and he was a comedian, but he wasn't. He didn't do a set. He was like the bartender or something like that.
Okay, you know, so I'm looking. Huh?
And he was in it. Then I was like, oh, Charlie Murphy's in it. Because at first I couldn't recognize Charlie Murphy, because Charlie Murphy looked different than he did like when he was on the Chappelle show. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's Charlie Murphy.
He looked very different. And I will be honest, like, I don't know about anybody else, but I really did not know who Charlie Murphy was until the Chappelle show. Like, it was like when he got on Chappelle's show, that's when everybody was like, oh, this guy's funny. Oh, he's also Eddie Murphy's older brother. Mm-hmm. And so when this movie came out, I didn't know who that was. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh, Murphy was in this movie. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But here are some interesting things that I did read about this film. So this movie, like I said, it did win a Golden Raspberry Award, but it also was nominated for an Academy Award.
Really?
Now that I did not know. For Best Costume Design, it was nominated for and the costumes. That is one thing.
It is, Black people were so dressed up back then.
Oh my God.
Always dressed to the nines at all times, no matter where they was going. They going out. It's going everywhere.
I think people especially were more well-dressed back then, but Black people especially. Oh my God. Oh, we have a comment on YouTube that says, welcome back. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. We are back.
So we did miss one.
Yes. It's been a while, but we're back in your feed. But yeah, like the costuming in this film, that is one of the things that stands out the most. It is one of my favorite things about this film. It is just the commitment to really recreating that time was like amazing. Like the sets that, you know, because we talked about it before we, you know, hit live, where was the movie shot? It was shot on sound stages. And so, okay, but I guess it would have to be like, but then like the commitment to just like bringing that time period back, like the cars, the costumes, the furs, the craps tables, and the suits, the dresses. I mean, it was really like going back in time, like the music, the dance moves, even like the little contemporary art deco design of the buildings and architecture was just like really, really well done. And I enjoy this. So I can see why it was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Costume Design. So then it also was nominated for a Golden Raspberry for Worst Director for Eddie Murphy. So, but yeah, but let's talk about the money equivalent in. So 1938 was the time period, the year. So it's 1938. Okay. In 1938, so remember they were like, "Oh, we're all going to get $50,000 a piece."
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money.
And I remember, like, when I was watching it, I was like, "That ain't shit." But then I was like, "Oh wait, this is like the 30s." So
like when bread was a nickel, like you got $50,000, you rich.
hey, man, look, some people believe that bread gonna be a nickel next year.
And gas is gonna be back to 99 cents a gallon.
And eggs gonna be good and cheap.
Happy days are here again.
Happy days are here again. Anyway. But anyway, yes, in 1938, $50,000 was equivalent to $1.8 $1.08 million.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Look at you
So no
doing the
wonder,
math in
because
the background.
everybody around the table was like, "Whoo, 50,000." And I was like,
I
let me
still
find
would
out
have
how
been
much
like,
that
"Woo,
was.
you must be rich." I would
Look,
have been like,
hey,
"Woo."
look, I wouldn't turn down no 50,000. I'm just saying that ain't enough. That 50,000 is not enough for me to like. They were like, you could
They was like,
start over.
relocate.
You could
Yeah, start a business.
relocate.
You could start a business with 50,000.
Yeah, but I couldn't relocate.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you'd have to leave Harlem. I mean, you could. I don't know. You could do something with 50,000.
Yeah, you could do something.
50,000.
You could shake a little something with 50,000, but to relocate and start over to where like nobody knows you, because like they did do this big heist. So
Yeah.
50,000.
That's what
But
I didn't remember about the movie. I guess I never watched the whole thing, so I didn't even know. I just
see,
thought they were just doing stuff.
and you jumped all over my case, because I was like, what the hell was the heist? I was like, I remember that they did something, but I don't remember what the hell happened. So I don't know. But they did do a heist. So they were all gonna get $1.08 million. And okay, all right, that's a little more in the towards the relocation target.
Right.
So, and there was, remember Bugsy was like, you let $1 million, you let the cops get $1 million of my money,
Mm-hmm.
$1 million of my money, or something like that. I think the amount was closer to like 750,000, because they were like the black people put 500,000 or something, or 200,000 on the fight. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, okay, well, put money. So my guess is 750,000. So that would have been equivalent to 16.2 million.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, it was a big old heist, and he did split that around the table. So,
and that's what I wanted to talk about as well. Just how Sugar Ray operated. He didn't operate like he was the boss, like he was the only one. He reached across the table to everyone. He made sure everybody had something. If you worked for him, you were well taken care of. He took care of his people. He took care of the people that came to patronize him. And that seems like it's so far and few in between nowadays. Like that just doesn't happen. You don't find employers looking out for their employees, or businesses looking out for their customers and stuff like that. It's like every man for themselves. If you can't get it, oh well, you should have got it when you could. It's like it was so refreshing to even see something like that going on. He was like, because most people were like, yeah, we're gonna relocate. He was like, yeah, we about to get up out of here. I don't know what y'all gonna do, but I'm gone. I'm gonna take what I can get and I'm gonna relocate. But he was like, nah, we gonna do this. I'll make sure everybody's good. We're gonna get everything straight, and then we're gonna disband, because these people are not gonna stop. The police are not gonna stop. They're gonna try to shut it down every chance they get. So it's over. But before we go, everybody, let's get paid one last time.
He operated with so much integrity, and I was like, that was something that I did not really pick up on like first viewing. I mean, like I said, I was young, but that, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was definitely so obvious in this viewing, like how well he took care of his people, like even down to the prostitutes, which usually are in back of the house. When we look at like films like this kind of film, they're back of the house, and nobody really, as long as they're looking pretty and smelling good, then that's all that you need. But it was like he had people that he trusted, and it was almost like parallel to how Eddie Murphy had everyone in this film. Like he had these trusted actors and comedians, come in, do your thing. Like Richard Pryor's character, Sugar Ray, he had these people and he let them take care of their parts, and that was that. And then all together he took care of them. And like that scene when he bailed all of those people out of jail.
Man.
That was some stand-up guy type of shit right there. That was great.
Oh, well, yeah, tell her how much the bail is so we can run out of here.
Yeah. He tossed the money on the desk. I said, you know
took
what?
Everybody home in limousines. Hey.
With a box of candy and a note. I said, now you know what? And then you know what's another thing is I was like, oh, how young was I when I watched this damn film? Maybe I was younger than I remember because I picked up on the fact that it was behind a candy store. I knew it was like a hidden speakeasy kind of thing, but I didn't see that it was behind a candy store.
Oh, so he really
did you pick that up on that
no,
too?
I did not. Just now, until you said it, I was like, oh.
I'm gonna make the Dominique Daiquiris.
Oh, it was that good.
That was pretty good, yeah. But yes, well, I talk about this candy store, but yeah, it because when they were it was around one of the last scenes where they were like closing up for the night or something, and it was like a candy store, and you could see like all the little. And so I'm assuming, and I wish they would have showed that in the film because I guess you were supposed to just kind of quickly pick up on that, but they kind of like. I'm assuming that you would go through the candy store, and that's how it was hidden. Like it was probably like behind. So we have another comment on YouTube. That was a beautiful scene indeed, and it came from a brother, none other than the late great Richard Pryor. Absolutely, that scene was so well done. Like throwing the money on the desk was like, okay, it could have been 100,000.
He had it. Hey, he was gonna take care of the people. That's why I was like, there's not many stand-up people like that that'll stand up for what's right, do what he needs to do, and get it done.
And to take care of a mess that honestly wasn't even necessarily his fault, because in Prohibition times, you knew that if you went out to a club, it was possible that it could be raided. So he really could have let those people just like fend for themselves. Like, hey, look, see you next week if you get out. We'll be open, same time, same channel. But he went and picked them up and sent them home in limos. Like that was some like stand up guy shit. That was a great scene. And like scenes like that really make me feel like this was just really a great period piece and just a wonderful display of like Black opulence and wealth and just how good things were. Not perfect because Black folks still had to scrape in the Renaissance time, but like just Black opulence and wealth during that time period, and how beautiful that was. That scene, that might be my favorite scene in the film. Okay. Is it my favorite? I don't know. But it's one of my favorites. I like that scene. I like that scene a lot. Just like I like this cocktail a lot.
I see. You went for round 2.
I really did. That's pretty good. Yes. So anyway, any other things to cover? I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that in this.
It's classic, but it's not like, oh, it's the deepest dive. You can talk about this and this and that. Like, nah, it was entertaining. It was a great film. It was great to see so many Black actresses together and doing their own individual thing to bring it together to make a memorable film that people watch for generations.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like I realized that in this episode we didn't really do a lot of plot analysis and like talking about the different characters struggle and all that stuff, but because I think that shit ain't important. I mean,
not me. Somebody else to do a deep dive.
Yeah. But for me in my house. But I mean, it was a good time. Like it was, and it was one of those where it wasn't a lot of complex struggle anyway. Right. We had some
Crooked cops.
Huh?
Yeah, crooked cops.
Yeah, like there was some struggle, there was some conflict, but like everything worked how it was supposed to work, and it tied up neatly in a bow and ended. Like to me, that's a fairly decent film. Like you answer all the questions that need to be answered, and one, you answer all the questions that need to be answered because you don't pose a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Exactly.
So it was just like a good time. So some it was a heist, and some people got a lot of money, and that's it. That's our plot. We have another comment from YouTube. Here's another similar to that. If Denzel in one of those Equalizer movies where he let those factory workers off of work and paid them a nice parting gift of a bag of money, courtesy of Mr. Pushkin. I don't know how to say that.
I've seen.
But I know you've seen it.
I've seen two of them. I haven't seen the last Equalizer, but yeah.
Yeah. I love look.
I love it.
Yeah, Denzel. Yes. But yes.
Doing something, I'm like,
personally, I have not seen this scene, but I listen. Letting workers off of work and giving a nice bag of money. Hey, listen, give that movie an Oscar. That's all I'm saying. So yes. But yeah, definitely. Like when people take care of their people, like that is great. Because not everybody does it. Look, I mean, we
most
living
people
in,
don't do it. We
in the Bernie Madoff days. So look,
I take care of me. You figure out a way to take care of you.
Yeah, and because he could have legit done that, and we could have moved on to the next scene. And honestly, I wouldn't even thought any more about it because it'd be like, well, look, hey, you took a risk by being in that illegal ass club. So, but that was so dope, so dope. And look, Black people showing off wealth in a way that is just like not just.
Yeah, because that cop was so he was jealous of Sugar Ray. He was jealous. He's like, oh, that's a nice suit. He's like, yeah, it's tailor made.
That scene and that exchange was hilarious because he was like, yeah, I could tell. He was like, I brought my clothes off the rack. He was like, oh, I couldn't even tell because it fits you so nicely. that exchange. And listen, Richard Pryor was so funny in this movie, and it was like without even trying. Like, but you know,
so charismatic. He just had it. He just had it. It was just, if it was Richard Pryor, you knew he was gonna bring it. Like I've never been like, oh man, I saw Richard Pryor in this movie, or I watched this stand-up special by Richard Pryor and I was disappointed. Like you can go back to decades from now and it's still just as funny as it was when he said it years and years and years ago. So
yes, and relevant. Like this movie did appear like an extension of his like stand-up. He like the way he could just deliver, and like his storytelling is just unmatched. I feel like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a comedian that has like such rich storytelling as a part of their stand-up like that.
I think Bernie Mac can tell.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, but it's few and far between when you talk about comedians that can actually tell you a story. You follow the story from beginning to end, and you like, it's like you're visualizing it in your mind, like you're watching a movie, like you're watching it happen because it's so detailed and it's so well told. So it's like,
yeah, I'm really trying to think of a comedian like today. Like I know, like Bernie Mac definitely can deliver, but you know, he's not a comedian of today, unfortunately. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm sure it's somebody out there that can, but
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah. Anyway, so did we anything else?
No, I think we touched on a lot of things. We talked about a lot of things.
Look at that beautiful Dominique La Rue in your background. Jasmine Guy was that girl. Like Jasmine Guy, Layla Rashawn in this film, like just Even I can't remember her name, that played Richard Pryor's wife, who played the daughter on the Jeffersons.
Oh, that's who that was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes. And she was, and it's so cool how they got an it girl of that day too to like play his wife. And I was like, the casting like just was fucking great in this movie. But yeah, so I guess we can move on into best, worst, weirdest.
There we
so
go.
This is the portion of our show where we, wrap up the film by each of us sharing the best, worst, and weirdest part of the film. So Terrell, I'm gonna throw it to you. Show them how it's done.
Surprise, surprise. All right, let's see. So the best part of this film was all the black excellence that was in front of my face for about 2 hours. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Casting was great. Everybody did what they were supposed to do, and they made it a great movie. Let's see, best, worst part of the film was, I guess you would have to say that it wasn't really a plot to the film, but you really didn't need one. Did need to be that in depth. It was something quick. Like I said, it seemed like it was a buddy project. Eddie Murphy getting together with fellow comedians and putting together a nice little movie for them to do together. And like I said, it's timeless. You'll always remember it. People generations from now will still be watching it. So, and the weirdest part of the film was, I can't think of anything that was too weird. I was like, weirdest part, I'm just gonna make up one. The boxer. Boxer. It's like he got hit one too many times. His stuttering was out of control.
Dude, it was out fucking rageous. Like, and listen, no disrespect, no shade to anyone who stutters, but like,
when he finally got it out, he was like, y'all got it? And Richard Pryor was like, yeah, we finally got it. You finally spit it out. So yeah, we understand.
But I will say, like, one thing, because when I was watching the film, I was thinking about that, right? And one thing I will say about like, I really thought it was very cool that they didn't spend a lot of time making jokes about that.
Yeah. They let him talk as long as it took for him to talk.
They gave him, like, he was respected. Like, they called him the champ, and they, let him. I mean, I guess he could kick their asses if they disrespected him. But it wasn't even
for fear of,
right.
It was like, we respect you the champ.
Yes.
You know you got this stuttering problem. We gonna listen to what you got to say. Sooner or later, you gonna spit it out, and we gonna keep it moving.
Yes, to me, and that's another thing. Like, going back to what I was saying about how like everyone's lines was just so natural. Like, even though it was a comedy, even though it's obviously scripted to some extent, but the exchanges between people was just so natural. Like, the way they, Richard Pryor kind of threw in a little quip every now and then about the stuttering. He was like, yeah, I got it now. And it was like, they didn't, like, when he left the room, they didn't like, man, like, just.
Yeah, there was like, they did, because it was low hanging fruit. There wasn't no need to try to swipe it. I mean, you knew he had a stuttering problem. Everybody knew he had a stuttering problem. Once he was the champ, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, it was just like, it was just so natural. Like, it was like, this is a member of our crew, even though like he wasn't in the crew, but he was like obviously someone that came to the club a lot. So he was like, this is a member of our crew. Yeah, he got a stuttering problem. Yeah, we giggle at it a little bit, but he's one of our people. We take care of him. He take care of us. We love him. He love us. It was just so natural. Like, I felt, and like, so So we got a comment from YouTube. Everyone was dying laughing in the movies back then. I bet.
I believe it. I believe
it. Because it was funny, especially like the things he was saying and trying to get out. But yeah, like just the exchanges between like those like Richard Pryor and the boxer, and just like Red Foxx and Della Reese, like you could not tell me that they were not married in like real life. And I feel like that it was like what propelled them into doing that sitcom together.
But the royal family?
Royal Pains or Royal Family or something like that.
Yeah.
But they like just everybody just chemistry. And I feel like when I see movies like this, when there's a bunch of comedians, because we might get ensemble cast, but like where it's a bunch of comedians.
Yeah, you don't get that.
You don't get that a lot. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is us getting like a backseat view or behind the scene views of how like comedians really used to collaborate back in the day, especially like when they talk about their experiences at the Laugh Factory and like just like early budding comedians on the scene, and just like how Richard Pryor was a solidified great.
Yeah.
And he took like and worked with Eddie Murphy, and they worked like hand in hand. Like it was just beautiful. And like just to be in the room with all these greats, and you as a young budding comedian, like she was great. I love this movie.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't even realize how much I loved it until I started like really thinking about this episode.
I see.
I do.
What's your best, worst, and weirdest?
My best, worst, weirdest. So, but like I said, I guess just going into what I just said, like the chemistry in the cast, like you can't tell me that this club was not still in operation after the movie ended, even though it blew up and all this. You cannot tell me that all these people did not like
going to Harlem, going looking for it. Like, I'm headed to Harlem, see if I can go to Reese.
Thank you. Or that these people at least knew each other. Like the chemistry, the exchanges, it was just so natural to me. And so that's going to be the best, just along with just having this cast of like funny people, just a whole cast of funny people. The worst for me, and it's honestly not even a worst because it's typical of that time period, but it was like, oh, okay, so we are gonna have some little racist things in here. We was like, yeah, the niggas is doing this, and the niggers are. It was like, and we're gonna get rid of these jigs, calling them jigs.
Yeah, when they were calling them jigs, I was like, I ain't heard that one too much, but it sounds ultra racist.
It did. Yes, it was not racist light. It was the ultra. Yes. So I was like, okay, but I was like, I did not remember that watching it as a young person, but I was like, okay. I was like, but I will say, gosh, this was weird, but it wasn't weird for the film. It was just like a weird character thing. Like having that cop be so outwardly jealous of this black man. I mean, it made sense because like, how dare you walk around showing off your wealth? But it was like,
exactly, your nice house and your nice suit.
Yeah, he was so jealous of this man. So we had a comment that says, yes, that's 60s and early 70s terminology. Yeah, I guess like honky. That is
not honky. I heard that. I heard that.
People say that like relatively recently, and it's hilarious because it's just such a funny word. But
and Jeffersons and
So that would be my weirdest, just like him, and then him not only being jealous but also showing that he was jealous. It was like, I live in a hovel and you live in a like, dude, get yourself a grip.
Like, relax.
You wanted to be a civil servant.
So get the servant. And you on the take. Like, you should have some stuff.
Thank you. That was another weird aspect. Because I was like, dude, how are you dirty but you still broke? Like, you find a struggle. Because what are you doing?
I know, right? I'm gonna lose my job for nothing.
What are you doing? You, first of all, if you want to hobble, that's because your ass chose to be there.
Exactly.
Why are you still broke? Why? But you look, that was a little weird, but hey. Anyway, all right. Well, let's open up happy hour. I got my drink. But Terrell, before I share my drink with somebody, what character would you have a drink with? This is the portion of our podcast where we choose a character from the film to just get further information from. Who would you share a drink with?
With my fellow blind craps dealer, Benny Snake Eyes Wilson, Red Fox.
Just like Red Fox.
I do. I love Red Fox. And we would definitely have a drink together. And I'll be like, hey, you got your glasses?
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, I would have a drink with Della Reese's character. What was her name? Vera. Was it Vera? Della Reese.
Yep, Vera Walker.
Okay. Yes. I just, like I said in the beginning, she was so mean and hard, but it was like it came from a motherly type of thing. And I bet she took good care of those girls. Like, I bet she was like the best den mother, I guess you could call her, to those girls. And even though like she fought with those guys, it came from a I love you kind of place. And I felt like that, I don't know, shit like that feels like a warm hug when I see it on screen. Like, because that is how Black big mamas are. And like, because look, some of the women in our family, they whooped our asses.
Yeah. But some whip more than others.
Yeah, you got your ass whooped more than me. Okay. And you always tell me that. But I got plenty of ass whoopings too.
If you say so.
I did. But we never felt like, it wasn't because they like didn't love us. Maybe they loved us a little too hard. But yeah, I don't know, like characters like that just warm my heart.
Yeah, that's why I thought you was going to name the drink after. I was like, oh, this has got to be definitely a Della Reese style drink.
I started to. I was looking at that and I was like, nah. Because I was like, I haven't done a rum cocktail in a long time, so I was like, I'm gonna do that. But yeah, I loved that. I loved her character. So yeah, well, Terrell, why don't you share with everybody what you're binge watching now?
Binge watching. I'm still watching From. That's still my show for right now. It's still
is the season still in swing or
yeah?
Okay, what episode is it on?
Episode 9 came out today. Yeah, episode 9 came out today.
Oh, I would love to watch, but someone told me when I asked them for their
Do you not have Amazon Prime?
They told me to go to hell. And they told me to go directly to hell.
That's crazy. I believe I know that person that told you to do that. I believe that they
I believe you do.
Totally believe that you should.
Yeah. And I don't know what I was planning to do was a little niggerish. But
get a free trial. I'll get a free trial.
Look, I done already had free trials. Like,
you better get you another Gmail. Like, I don't know who this person is, but I need my free trial.
Well, I thought about it, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until the season ends, and then I'm gonna do that because I feel like I need to rewatch the first and second season, because I don't remember much of what happened, and it's one of them shows where you can get confused as hell if you get off track. So, and I know if I just start on season 3, I'm gonna be like, I don't know what Efu doing. So, but yeah. Is that all you watching? Are you binging anything else?
I think that's it. I've been watching NBA basketball back in season. Watched Georgia Southern lose yesterday, unfortunately. 28-20. Come on, Southern, let's go.
Wow. I have never seen a Georgia Southern game of any description. And I went to Georgia Southern, and so there's that.
Thing is, they make you pay for the games, especially when you go. I don't understand
well, that sounds like I need my money back because I can go none of that.
They make you pay for tickets. That's why they got the student thing. You just show them your ID. You
What is this? Free. Thank you for telling me. Georgia Southern owe me some money.
Yeah, right. They call that a donation.
You ain't lying. And they got plenty of my donation over the years. But yeah, I as far as me, I am binging. Don't laugh at me. I'm watching Gossip Girl.
Okay. Unfortunately, you.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hey, so you must got a lot of time on your hand because you be watching foolishness from time to time.
Well, I mean, I end most nights like I'll just lay in bed and watch a few episodes of whatever I mentioned. So I watch Gossip Girl. I also watched. That's it. That's all I've been watching here lately.
Oh, and I've been watching Agatha All Along.
I want to start that too.
But you asked me about it. That's why I thought you was gonna watch it.
Well, I asked about it because I was invited to this screening for it for the SCAD Film Festival, but I didn't go.
You should have went.
I should have went, but I was so damn tired. It was in October, and October was so busy. Oh my God. October was busy as hell. But I do regret not going because what's what's her name? Catherine Hahn, the star of the film.
Oh,
of the show, she was there.
Okay, cool.
Because I think she was getting an award, and I knew she was there, but I was like, I'm so tired. It was like a Saturday morning.
Oh, we know you don't wake up on Saturday morning.
Yeah, or no morning. That is not my jam. So, but yeah, I do regret not going, but I was exhausted. So, but anyway, but yeah, so that's what I'm watching, Gossip Girl, and yeah, and that is our show.
Yeah.
So we want to thank everyone for tuning in today, and we had a great time discussing Harlem Nights. I hope you had a great time listening to it. And as always, we're thankful for your comments, and we hope that you just enjoyed the show and listen to our thoughts and insights. And if you want to know more about us or about the show, you can head to sipsandscriptspodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Sips and Scripts Podcast. And the best way to help our little show is word of mouth always. So if you have someone that loves Black movies as much as we do, or as much as you do, please share our show with them. We're always open to suggestions. And if you want to add something to the film we talked about today, or if you've got a suggestion for a film that we haven't done yet, we'd love to hear it. Or if you just want to say, hey, what's up? You can always drop us a line on social media. And until then, cheers. Bye.